I'm going back to Nalini Sharma in the newsroom. Nalini, then let's go to the Varanasi court right now. What happens thereon? Because so many petitions that were being one by one filed in the Varanasi court as well. The survey report has been submitted. What happens to all of that? Will all of that be stayed for now? And eventually the report that has been submitted, what happens with regard to that in the Varanasi court?
Well, Pooja, quite honestly, what's happening before the Varanasi court is a little bizarre, and that's not an overstatement. Let me explain to you why. One, because the commission that was set up by the court regarding this entire matter to conduct the survey, one thing to remember is that whenever there is a court-appointed commission to take a look into any particular matter, their job becomes very important, because the court then relies on what information it is the commission that provides them after doing the work on the ground to finally make their decision in this entire issue. So this report that is supposed to be submitted by the commission is extremely crucial, but now we don't have one, we have two reports that have been submitted before the Varanasi court, one by the commissioner that was removed by the court and one by the commission that is still in existence. So as to whether or not the court will even take the commission by the ex-commissioner, the report, I beg your pardon, by the ex-commissioner on record is something that we'll have to see only once the proceedings happen. Because ideally, if the commissioner has been removed, then any evidence that is being put forth by him before the court should not be taken into consideration. The second most important point is that within the commission itself, there are allegations and counter allegations that are being raised between the commissioners. So in a case like that, what is the credibility of the report that is being filed by this commission comes into question, and it becomes doubtful. So as to whether or not the court
also,
will
Nalini,
accept,
has clearly been videotaped and videographed. So of course, they will only have to go by evidence. It cannot involve any sort of religious or otherwise sentiments as well. Do stay on with me, Nalini, because I'm also being joined by Samarth Srivastava, my colleague from Varanasi, who's been tracking all the latest in this case. But Samarth, before I come across to you, we just want to listen in to the Advocate Commissioners Vishal Singh, Ajay Pratap, who've made that report. And, you know, it must not have been easy at all to finally eventually put it all down and then submit it to the court. Just stay on with me, Samarth, for a few seconds while we listen into what my colleague Kumar Abhishek sent us just about a short while ago. Listen.
आप लोगों ने अपना रिपोर्ट सबमिट कर दिया?
जी, एकदम टाइम पे सबमिट कर दिया। 10:15 में सबमिट हो चुका है।
क्या आपने सबमिट किया है? क्या-क्या है जो आप हमें बता सकते हैं?
अब वो देख सकते हैं आप, जो रिपोर्ट में था वो हम लोगों ने सबमिट कर दिया। जो चीजें थी, ध्यान आकृष्ट कराया गया था प्लेंटिफ और डिफेंडेंट की तरफ से, हम लोगों ने सबमिट कर दिया है।
इसमें कहा यह जा रहा है कि बहुत सारे फोटोग्राफ्स, इसके अलावा जो नक्शे हैं वो भी आप लोगों ने सबमिट?
जी, एकदम जितनी फोटोग्राफ्स थी और वीडियोग्राफी हुई है दौरान कमीशन कार्रवाई अंडर सील है, वो हम लोगों ने सबमिट कर दिया है।
तो ये कितनी फोटोग्राफ्स होगी, किस तरह की फोटोग्राफ्स?
ये जानकारी नहीं है। जो फोटोग्राफ हुई है, सारी चीजों की फोटोग्राफी कराई गई है, सब सबमिट कर दिया गया है।
So cautious words there, not revealing much about what is actually in that survey report that has been videographed as well. Samarth Srivastava is joining me from Banaras. Samarth, there are also lawyers who you are speaking to. Over to you now. What is the sense from the ground?
See, it's a massive development as Subhash Nandan, one of the Hindu advocates, is also with us. I'll try to speak to him about the developments as the report has been submitted. I'll go across to Subhash Nandan. He is the advocate who has led the entire thing, and he was inside the survey, so he is also one of the witnesses. Subhash Nandan जी, बहुत स्वागत है आपका। सुभाष नंदन जी, बताइए कि जो है आज रिपोर्ट सबमिट हो गया है, आप कैसे देख रहे हैं?
अब कोर्ट में सबमिट हो गया साक्ष्य, उस साक्ष्यों के आधार पर हमारी लड़ाई आगे बढ़ेगी। और हम लोगों ने पूरे साक्ष्य प्रमाणिक ढंग से न्यायालय के समक्ष दिया था, और उन साक्ष्यों के आधार पर हम विजय पाएंगे। हमारी सफलता निश्चित है, ये जो हमको दृढ़ विश्वास है। इसलिए अब उन साक्ष्यों के आधार पर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। और भाई न्यायालय है, न्यायालय के समक्ष भाई उनका अधिकार है, सारे पक्षों को सुनने के बाद न्यायालय निर्णय लेगा। अभी समय इसमें है, लेकिन प्रथम जो है लड़ाई हम लोगों ने विजय पा ली है। सारे साक्ष्य जो है न्यायालय के समक्ष आ गए हैं, और हम लोगों की पहली जीत तो यहीं सुनिश्चित हो गई।
अजय मिश्रा की रिपोर्ट में साफ कहा गया कि जो है वहाँ पर हिंदू गॉड्स के कई सिंबल पाए गए हैं, दीवारों पर भी कलाकृति पाई गई है। जी
भाई, कलाकृति है ही, देवी देवताएं हैं, तो अजय मिश्र क्या कहेंगे? कोई कमिश्नर क्या कहेगा? जो साक्ष्य रहेगा उसी को कहेगा। अगर मस्जिद के साक्ष्य होते हैं तो अजय मिश्र कहते हैं कि मस्जिद है, लेकिन मंदिरों के ही सब साक्ष्य हैं। देवी देवताओं, ब्रह्म कमल, तमाम जो है नाग त्रिशूल सब बने हुए हैं, और जहाँ प्रतीक स्वरूप जो है आदि माँ श्रृंगार गौरी का पूजा होता है, वो भी स्थल है। सब कुछ तो पड़ा है तो भाई अजय मिश्र जी कमिश्नर हैं तो निष्पक्ष रूप से वो कहेंगे, अपनी रिपोर्ट में देंगे ही वो।
विशाल सिंह ने आज रिपोर्ट दी है, उसमें क्या क्या हो सकता है आपको लगता है?
अब जो है देखिए सारे साक्ष्य जो हैं विशाल सिंह जी के भी रिपोर्ट में मंदिर के ही साक्ष्य हैं, शिवलिंग है, तमाम चीजें, कलाकृतियां, हिंदू देवताओं से, संस्कृति से संबंधित तमाम वहाँ प्रतीकें हैं, तो विशाल सिंह जी वही दिए। अभी जरा अध्ययन हम लोग कर लें तो फिर आगे।
शिवलिंग का उन्होंने रिपोर्ट में दिया है अपने?
बिल्कुल दिया होगा, अभी हमने पढ़ा नहीं है, उन्होंने पेश कर दिया। न्यायालय से हम लोग जो निकलवाएंगे, पढ़ेंगे, समझेंगे, तब आगे की बात होगी।
अब इसके बाद क्या प्रक्रिया आपकी रहेगी?
अब इन्हीं साक्ष्यों पे लड़ाई हमारी चलेगी। पहली लड़ाई तो हम जीत गए भाई, हमारे साक्ष्य जो हैं हमारे पक्ष में हैं, जो प्रामाणिक ढंग से हम लोगों ने साक्ष्य रखे थे वो साक्ष्य सारे खुल के सामने निकल के बाहर आ गए हैं। तो पहला कदम, पहली लड़ाई हमारी जीत हुई है, जिससे हम लोग जो है बड़े प्रसन्न हैं, हर्ष हैं, और ये करोड़ों लोगों की भावनाओं की विजय है।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। So he was Subhash Nandan, Hindu advocate. He was clearly happy and said that Vishal Singh could have submitted his report and could have mentioned that particular Shivling, what Hindu side is claiming. So it's a big update coming in from the Hindu side that Vishal Singh's report might be having that particular Shivling as Shivling, because Muslim side was claiming it could be a fountain. But as per Subhash Nandan, things are very visible and clear that he has whatever report he has seen, there could be a mention of Shivling in that particular report.
That could be the biggest issue here if, as according to the petitioner's lawyer, who believe, because they've been asking and demanding that they need to be allowed to offer prayers as much as they want and not just on specific days, and that if what the Muslim side is claiming is just a fountain is actually a shivling and mentioned as it is in the survey report, that could perhaps become a game changer as well. Meanwhile, Nalini Sharma, who's tracking courts very closely. Nalini, how do you think the courts will hear this matter, specifically the Supreme Court now? Because they will not be going by religious sentiments. They will have to, of course, have evidence, documents here. Do you think they will be quoting any precedents, whether it is Ayodhya or any similar dispute case of this order in this, or this is going to be heard very differently with regard to Varanasi's Gyanvapi?
Well, Pooja, the main thing that is in challenge before the Supreme Court are the proceedings that are going on before the Varanasi court. It is the Muslim side that has approached the Supreme Court in appeal, and what they are saying is that the Varanasi court is continuing to hear this matter almost on a daily basis without having jurisdiction in the case. So if you remember the last time around when the hearing was going on in the Supreme Court, the judges had suggested that they can send the matter back to the Varanasi court to first decide on the issue of jurisdiction, to decide as to whether or not they even have the power to hear the case, and in case they find that yes, there is maintainability in the matter, then they can go ahead and hear the case on merits. So as to that is something that the Supreme Court is going to do after the hearing tomorrow. Is going to be interesting to watch out, because remember, there was no stay on the proceedings initially in the last hearing that was heard by the Supreme Court. Today, there has been a stay put only for a matter of 1 day till tomorrow 3 p.m. when the Supreme Court takes up the matter again at the insistence of the Muslim side, because it was the Hindu the Hindu respondents that had asked for an adjournment in the case. Like Anisha was just telling us, Vishnu Shankar Jain, who is one of the leading advocates in this entire matter, had informed the Supreme Court that his father, Hari Shankar Jain, was actually in the hospital, and because of that, the Hindu side could not place their submissions before the court and have asked for a 1-day extension, which the Supreme Court has been lenient enough to give to them. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. is when the hearing is going to happen, and tomorrow the main takeaway that we are expecting is not only what the Hindu side and the Hindu parties in this entire matter are going to tell before the Supreme Court, but also what the government of UP is going to say. Because the last hearing, when it had happened before the Supreme Court, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud had specifically said that they want the state government to assist the Supreme Court in this matter by putting forth their stand. What is their stand in this entire issue? Should the survey be allowed to happen? Should the proceedings be allowed to continue before the Varanasi court? So what the UP government says on this entire issue is going to be very crucial, because the last time around, Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General, who is representing the state of UP, had said that they had not received the papers regarding the case yet, after which the papers were supplied to them. And tomorrow is when we are going to, for the first time, hear what the UP government stand in this entire long-standing issue.
So what does this mean, Nalini? The trial judge cannot ticker the tape, is what the Supreme Court has said today. And I do have an added question to that. So the survey reports that have been submitted now to the court in Varanasi, that will have no bearing at all to the legal proceedings that are on at the Supreme Court, where the Muslim side has appealed and said there are ramifications that could happen if there is a delay here. So that completely stays disconnected, the survey report that has been submitted to the Varanasi court and what is being heard in the Supreme Court. Nalini.
Well, Pooja, it's not that the survey report will have no bearing on the proceedings.
Okay.
Because understand that whenever there is a report or any papers that have to be filed before a court of law, they are usually done a little bit before the hearing so that the judges have some time to go through the papers, to go through the submissions before the hearing is actually conducted. So there is no stay on anything being filed before the Varanasi court. But yes, there is a stay on any proceeding that can happen. So yes, of course, the commission can go ahead and file this report on the survey that was conducted. But the court cannot have an open hearing and take it up for consideration yet. That is what the stay by the Supreme Court means. So even if the report is filed before the Varanasi court, that is not going to be a violation of the Supreme Court order. But the Varanasi court cannot conduct any hearings or hear any arguments on this entire issue till tomorrow 3 p.m. Your second question...
Please stay on with me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead. I would like you to finish that point, Nalini, where they said that the Supreme Court has said the trial judge cannot ticker the tape.
Yes. What that essentially means, Pooja, and what the Supreme Court is trying to say, that they, in stern words, they're saying that the trial court should put a stay on all of the proceedings, at least for the next one day, because the proceedings, like the Muslim side stated, have almost been going on every second day. So at least till tomorrow, there should be no proceedings going on. Along with that, the Muslim side had also said that the hearing is currently underway when parallelly the hearing was happening in the Supreme Court.
So and clearly the Muslim side has made it very clear. They do not want a delay. They believe because there are issues cropping up and pleas are being filed in the court across the country over the temples that existed earlier. Mosques were built on them. These are claims that are coming forth consistently. Anisha Mathur is at the Supreme Court. Anisha, the Muslim side is very strong with its argument. They want the hearing to continue. You've been speaking to the lawyers from that side as well. What are they telling you today? And they're happy that the Supreme Court has said we will continue to hear the matter, unlike what Vishnu Jain had asked for.
Well, see, Pooja, the Muslim side had not opposed the adjournment on the grounds that there will be a problem. The Muslim side had said that there should be some protection given to them, because remember what the Hindu side had, the argument raised by the Hindu side today seeking adjournment of the matter was that their lawyer Hari Shankar Jain has been hospitalized. He cannot appear before the court today, and that is why they are seeking time. So the Muslim side, instead of opposing that plea, had said that since this is a matter that is having a larger ramification, since this is a matter that because of which there are other petitions, similar petitions being filed elsewhere in the country, because the Varanasi court is at the moment, even as the Supreme Court is hearing their arguments, already seized of the matter and is hearing the matter. That is why the Muslim side had asked for some orders from the court to ensure that their rights are not violated. So which is why the Supreme Court, after discussion, has said that we will hear this matter tomorrow at 3 p.m. Until then, there will be no action taken whatsoever by the Varanasi court. The Varanasi court will hold its hands. The petitions, the applications that are pending before the Varanasi court, seeking sealing of the wazu khana, seeking removal of the pipeline, etc., those will not be heard by the Varanasi court till the Supreme Court hears this matter tomorrow. So for both sides, both sides have got what they wanted for now, at least for the next 24 hours. There will be no movement whatsoever in the Varanasi court. The report that has been filed already by the court commissioners there, that report will not be taken up by the Varanasi court, because the Hindu petitioners have also assured the Supreme Court that we will not press any of our argument because we have sought time here in the apex court. So for now, what we will have to wait for is what happens tomorrow at 3 p.m. Back to you.
Nisha and Nalini, because apart from what's been happening in the courts, on the politics side of it, there's massive showdown taking place. We have some big breaking news coming in. Let's take a look. It's a political showdown over the Gyanvapi that's peaking. Bharatiya Janata Party's Amit Malviya has taken to social media site Twitter and appears to call out Asaduddin Owaisi's hypocrisy. The Bharatiya Janata Party is mocking Owaisi, and I quote what Amit Malviya has said here, and that quoting Owaisi's mosque till eternity claim that he has been making, but Malviya countered it, and I quote what Amit Malviya has said. Asaduddin Owaisi is communalizing the Gyanvapi Mandir issue. In 2022, mosques in Hyderabad, Masjid-e-Muhammadi and Masjid-e-Hashmi were demolished to build the secretariat. But Owaisi, who is a member of parliament from the city, did not utter a single word. This could be very big, remember, because AIMIM chief has been saying any attack, any demolition, any reference to that could bring down a mosque will not be tolerated. Babri will always be alive. He had said all of these statements. But now with Amit Malviya reacting on the statement, perhaps could become a big showdown. I repeat what Amit Malviya has said. Asaduddin Owaisi is communalizing the Gyanvapi Mandir issue. In 2022, mosques in Hyderabad, from where Owaisi is the member of parliament, Masjid-e-Muhammadi, Masjid-e-Hashmi were demolished to build the secretariat. But Owaisi did not utter a word. Listen in to how Owaisi had been attacking what had been happening in the past few days over Gyanvapi.
मस्जिद है और रहेगी इंशाअल्लाह ताला सुबह क़यामत तक। ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद मस्जिद थी और जब तक अल्लाह दुनिया को कायम रखेगा मस्जिद रहेगी इंशाअल्लाह ताला।
So, of course, Asaduddin Owaisi has been very defiant and very strong with his words that he has been choosing over what exactly is the petition that have been filed, the survey that was done. He clearly said that he was strictly against the survey that was being done. He called it BJP's hate campaign. He said all this was being deliberately done. Shehzad Poonawala, BJP spokesperson, joins me on this. Shehzad, this is very big because if what Amit Malviya is saying is correct, this could actually put Owaisi in the dock because he had been very clear. He said no attack on mosques will be allowed. But these two mosques that Amit Malviya, your party neta, is claiming have been demolished to build a secretariat. Clearly, the BJP is only escalating also this matter, Shehzad.
See, the fact of the matter is that Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi or the Congress party, the Samajwadi party, since the Gyanvapi order has come out and it has not been stayed by the Supreme Court, these people have become Samvidhan Papi and they are trying to incite and polarize the vote bank. It is a fact that two masjids were demolished in the construction of the secretariat, and that time Mr. Owaisi, who's an MP from there, did not utter a word, and this shows his double standards. This is not about Masjid Mandir. This is about vote bank politics that was Mr. Owaisi wants to play, and he has been doing it on every issue, be it the hijab order, be it the loudspeaker issue, be it the uniform civil code. Every order that comes from the courts is polarized and communalized by a bunch of people whom I call Samvidhan Papi, who only want to, for the sake of vote bank politics, communalize the entire situation and orders.
Do you think, Shehzad, that Owaisi from day one should have realized that this is not about Hindu versus Muslim? This is primarily about foreign invaders and the Indian civilization, and that is why perhaps everyone could have taken a more united stand on this and otherwise turning it more political?
Absolutely, but you see, unfortunately, Owaisi is just a symptom. There is an entire ecosystem that peddles fake lies, and with the help of their vote bank politics agenda, they are the ones who are trying to whip up this frenzy of Islamophobia and create a victimhood narrative. Is the court not cognizant of the 1991 law? Is the court going against the law? Is the court trying to communalize the situation by making an order in the Gyanvapi case? The Supreme Court has also not stayed it. So clearly, there's no need to politicize and communalize a court order, but Mr. Owaisi and the entire, be it Akhilesh Yadav, be it Ashok Gehlot, the kind of statements they are making, one is calling it a tamasha, the other one is mocking Hindu Asta. This is all being done in the name of vote bank politics. And today, Mr. Owaisi must answer the questions raised by Amit Malviya because they're absolutely true. Two mosques were demolished. Where was the entire concern for mosques then? He did not say a word because TRS is a party with whom he aligns and because it is inconvenient for him to raise those issues.
Shehzad, can I please request you to stay on for just a minute because while we await a reaction of Owaisi,